Yo, yo, yo. Ricky Point Live. Dear fathers. That's J. Cole in the background, baby. We have a special guest today. President of People and Culture from Dreamville. I love. It's my January. I'm sorry. Hey. I might hit the blunt, but I'm liable to trip. I ain't popping no pill, but you do what you wish. I roll with some fiends, I love them to death. My brother, here you go, right here. They say timelessness is next to God or the cleanliness. Back on my wrist. What's up, my brother?
What's up, man?
How you living, man?
I'm good, man. I had to find a place in this house to get away from the kids, man, to be able to have this moment with you.
Tell me about it, brother. So if my kids bust, like my door closed, but if my kids bust in here, then that's a part of the thing.
I'm glad we on that wavelength, that vibe, because
yeah, we on the same page.
Yeah, look, I told them go play a video game, and I told the 6-year-old to watch the 2-year-old, so that's where we're at with it right now.
Oh, hey, but that's good that you got the 6 to kind of a little spread out to kind of help one another.
There's a 4-year-old in between there, so.
Okay, you got 3. I got Torian, can you switch your camera around if you can to
do it this way?
Yes, sir.
All right, give me a second.
All right. No rush.
All right.
I was just bumping some J. Cole. No pun intended.
Hey, all pun intended,
For sure. Were you a big J. Cole fan prior to?
Yeah, man. It was one of those things that I think, like even a year ago, I mean, I was in a whole separate industry. So when this came about as an opportunity to join Dreamville, it just made sense. Like not only, as a fan, but it's a fan of the artist, but also the fan of the brand. So it's just like, amazing artist, authentic, for me, just like it just seemed, aligned with my own values. And so it's just like, to be able to come over and help scale it out and build, and be part of that movement. It's only very few of us over, over the last 14 years to be able to say that they were able to do that. And so, I was able to join the family. So yeah, it's exciting, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but before we
yeah.
get into that,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, like journeys, of individuals behind the scenes, because there's always a car, right? But the car needs the engine and the transmission and the oil. So, in a way, this is me giving you your flowers for being the engine to the transmission, because you went from Morehouse, then you were in finance, which you were the youngest branch manager in the country for that bank at one time.
Yeah.
Then you went into nonprofit, and now you're at Dreamville. That is just such an interesting journey. And I think this is important that we communicate that, because for the young brothers and sisters that, they might want to get into the entertainment industry or want to become like a project manager or have you made, but don't really see or hear from individuals that have navigated this lane. So how did you navigate that lane, end up from banking and finance, nonprofit, and now you're at my favorite label, Dreamville?
Yeah, I mean, I won't give you the long-winded answer, but I'll tell you, even when I started my career coming out of Morehouse, I got into this management training program, but it was called the General Management Training Program. So literally it was designed to help, a leader, be able to jump between industries. Leadership is transferable. And so, at the end of the day, if you're not a subject matter expert, but you know how to humbly enter a space and still be able to command the presence or be able to lead or think in a certain way to add value. And so, I mean, I began my career with that even when I was 22, to then be afforded the opportunity. That's why they were even, when I was at the bank, they were even comfortable with just saying, hey, let's throw you in the branch manager role, knowing that, hey, I only spent 3 months, in the location. It wasn't like I moved up from a teller, but I still, the way I moved and navigated and was willing to, admit if I didn't know, I was going to learn and grind and still, prove my worth there. And so, starting there, but it was just like, even though I bounced around from finance to social impact, nonprofit fundraising, program development, you know, higher ed and entertainment. Entertainment has always been, or the arts and culture has always been, you know, something that's been, you know, I've been adjacent to or part of, even from the finance side. So, you know, you may see Apollo, but if you look at the board or the young professionals that were supporting the Apollo in Harlem, it was
Right.
folks like myself, you know, or like when I was with the bank, you know, we were sponsors for Russell Simmons Art for Life, you know, fundraisers, Marcus Samuelson and all the stuff he was doing with, you know, as he opened his branch in Harlem, Red Rooster. I was the executive producer for a one man play, you know, so it's like I've always been adjacent, you know.
Mm.
Once I even went into financial planning, the plan was at the time I knew enough creatives and artists where it's just like, look, I can speak the language, but because I handled the business side, there was thoughts that I could deal with business management. But I ended up
Mm.
realizing, you know, the money side of it was something
Yeah,
I wasn't necessarily interested in. It was just
for
really
sure.
people relationship and problem solving. So, you know, that's how I was able to journey through. But, you know, it was something that I even saw in youth development where they, you know, you ask a young person what they trying to do when they grow up, and they're like, I want to be a rapper or I want to be a baller. But the thing was, it was like, all right, if I had real talk, I asked the kid, what do you want to be? He said, I want to be in the NFL. And I said, if you don't do that, what do you want to do? And he was like, I'll be a mechanic. I was like, yo, there was so many layers. Dude,
Yeah.
you could work for Nike, you could work for the, you know, you could work for the NFL. Like there's so many things behind the scenes that I
Yeah.
realized that you just want to be able to expose young folks or just folks to the entire $1 billion industry, whatever it is, of all the things that you could do if you could not be the performer, you know?
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, this is President of People and Culture from Dreamville, but also has a plethora of experiences. It seems like foundation in management,
Yeah.
which I'm interested in just because of just what you mentioned, just the vast amount of opportunities that are available for these young men and women, but we just sometimes see the bright light on top, but there's so
Yeah.
many layers behind the scenes that that make that car drive.
Yeah.
So now being at Dreamville, this is one side, but then you also throw in the layer of husbandry and fatherhood, and you have
Yeah.
3 kids. I got 3 kids too, 4 kids. Oh,
Yeah. I just named three, but yeah, four.
you got 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for um 4 kids.
Yeah,
I
bro.
only know where to start. I guess how do you balance? I know you're married. I mean, I get close to my wife all the time because without her, I wouldn't even be able to even do this right now, probably.
Yeah.
But how do you balance, you know, your creative side, your business side, and your family?
Poorly right now. Uh, I don't even, I mean, I don't have a, I could tell you, I'll tell you a little bit of how, but I don't even think it's a, like, I forget, it's not even call balance anymore. I mean, it's just, you just kind of maneuver
Yeah,
and just
like a
kind of put,
harmony almost,
yeah,
because it might
man,
not
yes,
be
it's pure chaos. So it's like, yeah, I love that word. Yeah,
right.
it's a harmony to it. It's
Yeah,
not necessarily a balance
balance.
because as you, like you say, you're a father of three, and to be able to do all of that, nobody could do that. You know what I mean? And it's just like there's something that sacrifices depending on what it is. And for me, it was, you know, even joining Dreamville. I mean, we could get to this story later, full story later, but I mean, I accepted joining Dreamville, and sorry, my one of them showed up. I accepted joining Dreamville, but then at the same time, like maybe 3 days later, we found out we were pregnant with our fourth child, our daughter. And so
Um,
even at that point, it was just like, oh, the decision to come to Dreamville, and we closed down a home right then and there. You know, it was just like, okay, I have this figured out with 3 kids. You know, we have a balance going on, and so now moving into a new space, I know I'll have some flexibility to be able to navigate and maneuver, and I could put my head down. But then it's like, no, now you got another one on the way.
right.
You know, kudos and shout out to Dreamville, you know, for being that family type, you know, environment where it's like, you know, it was quite supportive from that standpoint. Also being during
Mm.
COVID, remote, but it was just something where, you know, trying to be able to find ways to balance that. I mean, it's been a challenge. It's been difficult because there are times, you know, I do gotta, you know, for 3 weekends in August, you know, a couple months after my daughter was born, you know, I had to go to Chicago because we launched a program, the Dreamville Shaw League, for 3 weekends
Mm-hmm.
or so, because I played a heavy role in the production of that. it was just like 3 weekends, a couple months after my daughter was born. It's like, wife, now you got to hold it down. And it's like, and thank God she was able to, deal with it. But again, it was just one of those things that each example, each time, it means just you try to fine tune and find ways to tweak it, because you're gonna make mistakes. Some things are gonna fail, and then you just try to figure out, like you said, that harmony.
That harmony. And like you said, it's no real book to this. You kind of got to find out on the fly. So how do you have any mentors maybe in the fatherhood realm, or like guys that can give you gems and wisdom on how to kind of navigate?
Yeah. When we had our first, there was a crew of us in New York, in Harlem. Majority were fathers in Harlem, but we started like brunching together. That's the thing in New York, and because it's not Atlanta, you ain't got to worry about the hookahs. But it was, but it was stop. I'm sorry.
No, we live, man. We're here for that. Actually, that adds to the content. Actually,
no, but he's trying to burn himself.
Oh no.
But yeah, we had we called ourselves a brunch of dads, and we would just literally bring our kids to a brunch spot. Shout out to the brunch of dads, and we would just literally take our kid, go to a spot in Harlem, and and it was, of course, it was just us with our kids, but I mean, this group chat, this group me has literally just been that area where you can ask all questions, get advice, talk fashion, and when I say talk fashion, it's like, when somebody sees some fly sneakers and the response is, oh, these are comfortable, because you can run after the kid. It's like that level of detail, not just like these some off whites. It's like, nah, this air bubble is making it comfortable for me to even deal with fatherhood.
Right.
You also have some dads that are also just in different stages. So it's like some that are married, some that are co-parenting. So it's like fathers like that. I have my own dad, that's been amazing to be able to talk to, but it's also a shift, because it's like you're the son now trying to ask dad, fatherly advice. So, and then a lot of it applies to yourself and how you dealt with it.
For sure.
And then I think also, just as I transitioned to the industry, was fathers also in the industry, where it's just like some of the things that they had to, how did they maneuver, or how did they deal with? And I think they've offered, an even better perspective. So from the standpoint of, even when you're asking about the balance piece, for them, if you're going on the road, or you deal with multi-million-dollar opportunities, like that's a different level, it's a different perspective. And so where folks are sometimes trying to figure out how to be there, or be, what their Christmas plans are. I'm like, you could be, say, like, a basketball player on the Lakers, or you could be a football player on the Detroit Lions or something like that. And those certain holidays, you're probably not going to spend time with your family. So it's so they do it in a different way. So it's like, it guides me from the standpoint of, like, you realize there's just a bunch of examples that you just tailor bits and pieces, and you just understand your situation is still going to be unique to you. But it's just like, I do value all advice, and I'm sure the things you're going to say is also going to be valuable, and I'm going to pull and apply to my own situation.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's for me, honestly, when I do these lives, it ends up being just a conversation, because I think that's something really dope about us Black fathers. We can talk about life and being fathers and have never met. Like, that's pretty profound, especially when we don't have a tremendous amount of, I won't say role models, no pun intended, but we'll have a tremendous amount of, things to pull from people that we might champion in a sense, so we have each other to do that with. I think that's just so profound. I'm sure now, with you being who you are in Dreamville, it'll be guys that are looking up to you in terms of how to find that harmony with the family. Does that come with a certain amount of responsibility from, you've been around different, rappers, to a sense where have you had to move a little differently? No role model.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, a little bit. I'm also coming at a unique space. Like my role, within, as president of People of Culture. I mean, I'm more, I would call more behind the scenes, in the sense, like, I support, or my team is designed to help build up the infrastructure. And like you said, like, when you talk about what's under the hood, to build up the infrastructure to support each of our verticals. And so I'm not necessarily called in my role to do, some of the things that maybe, we would deem as totally glamorous. Now, no, I still have the privilege and the privy to be able to go to things, which is dope, but it's not the day to day where I may be, it calls for me to have extra late nights or, and early mornings and things like that. And so, I do, and I'm coming at it in a different place. So, it's different for me, but, I've seen how other brothers are able to do it, and, that may have that role, or, where they're everywhere. And, and like I said, it's role modeling from multiple angles. I've seen them. It's like they're bringing their kids everywhere, and so, you don't get to see that a lot, but that exists. And it's like, that is the dope thing that, I think within the industry, I don't think it gets highlighted enough, or it's highlighted by, platforms like Dear Fathers. And if you're really paying attention, you see it. But it's sometimes like, because you get caught up in the performance, the athlete, like those type of things, you may miss it, but they're there. I think there's a lot more examples like that. So I don't have to necessarily change how I move, because it's just like, I'm not being called for that as much. But, I do have to, there are things that I would have done going into a new space. That's why I started out by saying, like how my career started. There's things I was used to doing in order to build equity, social capital, network, that I can't do as frequently anymore. So I have to find new ways, or just be comfortable in the fact that, no, I've been in this game for some time. And I've had deep relationships, and it's okay. Like, I don't necessarily have to do the same stuff I used to do when I was 22, 24. I could literally go on the strength that, there's going to be some people now that may just literally be talking about me. And that's more than enough, because they'll say that, this person's a good dude, or how this dude works. Schedule some time to meet with him. That's going to be more valuable than, I got to be at this thing.
Right. No, for sure. It actually sounds like you're in what I would call like a sweet spot, like being able to be in the industry, but not get all the negative from the spotlight, man. Like that's one of the biggest detractors, I feel like, from being famous. Like, just the things that it brings. It feels like you're able to like engage in your gifts, and it's in entertainment, but I think it froze. But it doesn't come with all the, the things that come with it. You mentioned, can you, I guess, explain exactly what you do as the president of people and culture? It sounds like a very prestigious role.
Man, it's the way I describe it. I mean, I could give you the nuts and bolts. I mean, we are tasked with, Dreamville, founded as a record label, has grown to a multi-platform entertainment company. And, as of last year, the co-founders and partners, said, hey, we want to continue to scale out, but it's time to start bringing in people to help us scale out. And so we've been able to accomplish global success, but what are we doing as far as building out the infrastructure to essentially allow each of these verticals to just move and just kind of move and, put some systems in place. And so my team has been tasked with building out those support areas, those administrative support areas. So when you think HR, we think IT, when you think finance, but also, social impact. We have the Dreamville Foundation, and how do we embed social impact strategically in the work we do. So we sit as a centralized, we're one of the only centralized departments that are able to see across the board, and, just able to offer perspective. Like, I have a dope team that's been there, that, has experience on the, that came from the record side, that helped me co-run this, where it's just like, hey, we're doing things, like I said, those things that we're building out as far as the administrative pieces, but we're also doing things, like I said, like when we were able to bring the Dreamville Shy League, we played the point, the point people to help execute that, keep everyone organized in partnership with Wilson Sporting Goods. So, when we, did Dreamville on the Rocks in Denver at the Red Rock Amphitheater, we were the ones that helped organize a welcome party and like some of the parties and just keep everyone organized. So, I mean, culturally, it's also we're keeping a thumb on the culture of like internally, because we also want to make sure that we're recruiting some of the best talent. But then also, externally with our partners, and it's trying to stay consistent and aligned with the overall brand.
Man, so basically, y'all taking Dreamville to it's more than a record label. It's almost
Oh
like
yeah, no,
it's
no.
almost like a community building
Oh man, no,
piece.
Dreamville. That's what I said. I mean, the music is always going to be, the through line, the basis, the engine. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, like I said, we're multi-platform entertainment. So it's, we have our apparel company, we have, our festival, Dreamville Fest coming back next year for 2 days. We have, our foundation. We have, the studio that we launched. So it's a film and TV, scripted and unscripted podcasting. So that those are the things that we've grown to
Right. So
in-house agency publishing. So it's you see the brand, but be prepared 2022 because there's a lot more to come.
be prepared,
Yeah,
Mr. Torian Robinson. So I guess my question is: so you found your lane, I guess your passion. How I guess compare that to how you feel like you plan on going about doing that for your kids. Is it putting them in different stuff? Is it giving them a game? Because a lot of times the parents like we want, and I'll suffer from this too, like wanting my son to be like a mini me, like whether that's sports or athletics. What's crazy is I had interviewed shameless plug. I interviewed Ozzie Smith, and
Nate's in it.
he told me one of his biggest like mistakes, I guess, in fatherhood was trying to make his son a baseball player. And mind you, this is Ozzie Smith. I wouldn't blame him for trying.
Yeah,
Like, that's his life. But I took a lot from that, and it really made me kind of draw back and kind of like just not analyze, but like see what my son wants to do. It ain't all got to
yeah.
be what I want to do all the time. So I guess how will you plan on? Our kids are fairly young now, but you kind of know what they're into from a young age. How do you plan on navigating
Well,
that?
real quick, so we just stay connected. What's the age of your kids?
15, 5, 3.
So I'm looking at you like I'm gonna be asking you for some of the advice. I'm 6, 4, 2, and 5 months. So
Hmm.
it's just like I have a lot, but
Yeah.
I'm still a rookie, so it's still a newbie to the fatherhood game.
Yeah.
So this answer is still formulating.
Hmm.
It's one of those things. Like right now, I'll tell you like this. Like I spent maybe 2 hours yesterday trying to put my two oldest into something. My oldest has played soccer. He's played various organized sports, at least, since he was born.
Hmm.
My second oldest, he hasn't done anything, but a lot of that was due to we moved to Atlanta, then COVID. So
COVID.
it was just like a thing that the oldest was privy to doing these things. So I was trying to do it yesterday, but I got stuck for 2 hours because it was like, all right, I want to do basketball for both of them, but then I want to expose them to martial arts. And then I tried to do music for the oldest one time, but because he was doing soccer at the same time, like both of them would happen on the same day, I was killing myself, and it's so to answer that, I think it's two part. One, I would feel you need to expose them to as much as possible. They're gonna take a liking to some. I think we all culturally have examples of success stories, like shit. Was King Richard about to come out? Like,
Yeah.
we grew up
Yeah.
with the
Will
Jacksons, and
Smith.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you seen examples where it's like you got that drill sergeant parent,
Yeah.
and the kid
Yeah.
became uber successful. So it's like
Yeah.
I want that. Then you get
Right.
the example of like folks that made it where it's like, oh, they literally didn't discover doing this until like high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there was something like me where I didn't go on to college play ball, but I played like high school ball. But it was, and I did karate and all this stuff. But my parents divorced when I was young, so they were both around, but my mom worked two jobs, so couldn't do all the extracurricular stuff. But I was good at what I did, and it was just something I took the liking to. So it wasn't even like coaching from my mom, or it wasn't
Hmm.
organized. It was just something I did on my own, and my dad
Hmm.
helped nurture it anytime I was around him.
Yeah.
And it was still kind of hands off, or just whenever he do it. But he was never pushing or pressing. So it's
Hmm.
like I've seen so many different examples
Yeah.
where I'm still formulating what it would be for my kids. But what I would tell you is allowing them to see as many things as possible. One, but the arts would be something mandatory, that playing an instrument or at least learning it. Sports, art class, painting, like even if it's just something to sign up for,
Right.
I would still try to do that as long as possible just to keep that side of it, because again, now being in the, in the creative industry, like being able to see like folks that have, achieved that pinnacle or gone that, it's like, it's beautiful to see.
Yeah.
Uh, and again, they could go on to be doctors, lawyers, whatever they want, but it's just like that. How many of those that have you seen that a lot of times like, oh, I also know how to play the piano or things
Yeah.
like that. So,
Yeah. For
there's
sure.
still some buckets or content areas that I would still like them to be a
Yeah.
part of. But again, I don't know what level I'm gonna be like forcing them to do do
No.
stuff.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'm just asking because I think there's a lot of dads on here too, and we all got the same journey in a way.
Yeah,
We all just trying to figure it out. But I took that same approach. I think I put my son in everything from coding to,
yeah,
baseball, soccer. He ended up gravitating towards baseball, but now he's so into art. I'm starting to like just allow him to do whatever he wants to do. He's 15 now, and
yeah,
I don't want to be. I don't want to have any regrets on what I pushed too hard. Like you said, we have so many examples of the push too hard.
yeah.
I'm always stuck between, dang, if I just push him, I know he has it in him, but
Right.
it's up to me to get it out of him. I don't necessarily think it is sometimes,
Right.
and these are answers that I don't think even have
Yeah.
answers. Questions don't have answers, but they're good dialogue for
I,
us.
I would tell you this: the one thing I struggle with is the desire to do it. I'm tired. My
Yeah,
kids are young, and it's like I'm trying to do a lot. So
that's
I'm
real.
I'm tired, and so that's
Yeah,
the other thing where you do hear examples of that. Like I got a homeboy that like takes his kid, to the batting cage, every night, and I'm like, yo, I'm not even at that point yet. And so it's like part of, and I want to be able to be candid because sometimes I feel like, with Instagram, social media, or sometimes in these talks, you can make it seem like, oh, this is what I do, but
yeah.
I'll be the first one to admit, like, man, that's a struggle. Like, there's times I just don't want to do it. That's why I'm like, go play your video game. Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
Daddy
No,
don't
that's
want to
real.
kick the Daddy don't want to kick the soccer ball or dribble right now. Like,
Right.
I'm off. It's cool, and I feel like shit for saying that, but I mean, that's just a feeling. It's a
No,
reality.
no,
Yeah,
no, that's real. I'll give you a example. Man, me and my wife are so big on not giving our girls the phone, the tablet, none of
yeah.
that. But when COVID hit and we both
Oh,
work
bro.
from home,
Hey, bro.
you know what I'm saying? And
Hey,
I didn't
tablet for
feel
everybody.
bad.
Man, do it.
I didn't feel bad because, and like you said, like you put, like, we got to be transparent about these things because we not perfect and we ain't all got together and we all can learn from each other. Man, that baseball, practice, batting cage, games, tournaments out of town. That tournament baseball, it's literally another job. So I'm like, oh, you like art? Cool, go do this a job. You know what I'm saying? And it's not all about me, it's about him. But I also gotta
Yeah,
have the bandwidth to
man.
do everything else too, though. So
And look, you got three. So it's like now,
yeah.
and that's the only thing sometimes where, this is where it becomes perspective. Like in some of my dad chats, like there's times I saw my one of my boys' classmates earlier. He got four. So he was one of the first cats I caught up back with because I'm like, you got a perspective that that anyone I talk to doesn't have. Like you had three when I was in the three club. Like it's the same thing. A lot of times those parents are one, like just, it doesn't diminish, but it's like literally the perspective is different. So we were talking about how tired it is for one,
Yeah.
trying to do like you don't feel like going to batting cage. What if you got two others asking for the same thing
Mm.
and want the same attention or a different sport? So it's like batting
Yeah.
cage for
I
one.
got that.
I got
Yeah.
it. And you're like, yo, I remember.
I don't gotta think about that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. But Torian Robinson, I want to just give you your flowers again. And I said how important it is that we champion the transmissions in the car, the engines in the car, and let not even young kids like us know that there's a plethora of other lanes that we can get in. We just like assert ourselves. I think somebody said like hard work. I forgot what he said. Hard work and good character is what he said. Would take you a long way, man. So I'm proud of you.
I appreciate it.
Great father. I'm excited to just continue to see your journey. Before I let you go though, we got the Dear Father game real quick.
Yep.
You ready? It's just three questions. And
Go.
usually I freestyle them. So I'm probably gonna do the same thing. All right.
Let's go.
Name for me one toy that you would never buy your kids again.
Never.
Never. Maybe you stepped on it. It
Yeah,
cost
yeah.
too
Oh no,
much.
I knew it was so many that came at the same time. Like,
Okay.
uh, Legos.
Like, you want Legos? You
I
stepping
love
on them?
Legos, but man, yeah, you just be stepping
It's a
on them,
mess.
and it's like you build it one time with them, and then that would probably be the last time, or because we got multiple and they're young, like somebody's gonna come knock it down. Then there's a fight that you got to bring deal with, and then now with the age gaps, I got the oldest one want to get the one with the little Star Wars, so there's little pieces, and we hollering at the baby because he
Right.
be trying to come up with a choking
They
hazard. So
expensive too, man. They get
yeah, bro.
expensive too.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like the expense, the payoff is one time, and then you find yourself stepping on them and shit like that.
No more Legos.
Yeah.
In
And
the
a close
Robinson.
second is the mat. That little, you remember those little mats? Shit, we got around the mats.
That
The
you put
blocks.
together.
Yeah, the blocks.
I like Legos.
Yeah, but they're like soft mats that the kids lay
Yeah,
on. But
yeah.
it doesn't come solid color. What it comes with is comes with a number, and the number has something that pokes out. So it's just like you
Letters.
spend
Yeah.
every evening trying to put that shit together. Yeah, so those two.
Actually, I think it's my your wife. It looks like you buy Legos for Christmas. No, sir.
Mm-mm.
All right. Name for me 2 cartoon dads. Go.
Homer Simpson and oh damn. Oh, my man from Baby's Kids. Why was I just forgot his name.
He passed recently, didn't he too?
Yeah, well, Robin Harris.
Robert Harris. Oh,
but his the dad's name. But I mean, I guess he was a stepdaddy.
He was like a boyfriend.
He was a stepdad. Yeah, boyfriend. Okay, so
he was a boyfriend daddy. But I'm gonna give you that because that's probably one of my favorite cartoons. So I'm gonna give you that. Something was a comedic story of a father who cross-dressed to meet his wife over divorce custody. What movie is that?
Oh, Miss Doubtfire.
Yeah, ding, 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 ding.
Oh, yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. I'm gonna give you 3 for 3, my brother.
Oh man, I'm like, keep them coming, man. That shit.
All right, I'm gonna give you one more of this. I want to ask everybody. Name me. This is a tricky one now. You might not get this. 3 diaper brands. Go.
You said that'd be tricky. Come on, man. I got a new one.
You have a little bit. Never mind. You better pull them out. Pampers.
Bro, that's why I was running. I came running to this thing because I had to go to Target to get some. Look, I'll tell you this. When we first started out, it was all Pamper Swaddlers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Pamper Swaddlers. You know, and that's what you want. That's the legit one.
Pamper
they give you. But the more kids you have, then it became quickly like this last 2. You know, it's like Target brand.
Love, right?
Target. Oh no! Hey, dog, no. The Target one it slapped. It worked.
Hey, see, now that's a gem right there.
Yeah, the Target brand, man.
Target diapers slap. All right, since you just throwing out all the dad gems, give me like a device or a baby thing that you would write a review for that like 10 out of 10 that you got to get. If you just had a new baby, what's something that like you can't live without?
A boppy.
Ooh.
You know the boppy?
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah. No, my fault. No, I just, you told me the age range, so I just wanted
to. I got a 5 and 3. I ain't too far from the boppy.
No, right. Yeah, no, the boppy. I mean, the boppy became, like, you can't do, I don't know if your wife nursed, but it's like, we don't do that. But they so used to kind of being that way.
Just sitting right there.
So anytime you sit right there, you can have a little drink. You can have them, and watch the game or whatever, and they're just cool with the boppy. So it's like I swear by the boppy for it.
So just get J. Cole to do like a Dreamville boppy. He got that might work. What's up? I would. So one thing. This is just between. I mean, I am hi. I am hi. I am What's the word? I respect J. Cole's privacy with his kids. How does he do that? This one even, I don't even, like, I never seen his kids. I feel like I know he's a great father because just the character I believe he has. But that's just a special place to be in, right? To not be a super duper star and not be able, like, I bet you other people envy that because that's amazing. How does he do that? If you could give me insight.
Like you said, respect for his privacy. I mean, that's that's what he does. So I don't even know. But I would say,
Wow.
like, yeah, from the standpoint of, I respect that too. You know,
Yeah.
so just joining, just knowing that that's a private part of it. You know, I don't go into it from that standpoint. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it just it just that is just something I truly appreciate being able to see, like you said, at that level. But I think that just also highlights, how we move as a brand.
Yeah,
Like,
for
he's the
sure.
epitome of that. But most of us are. I mean, my shit is private. So
Right,
that's
right. For sure.
so I'm candid to just talk about it when we talk about it. But you just
I
don't see
appreciate
any,
you.
yeah, you
I,
just don't
I
see
appreciate
anybody
it.
kind of moving out like that.
Yeah. Well, tell J. Cole if he ever does want to show his kids, come on, dear fathers, and do it live, baby. Now that would go viral now for real.
Hey man, I appreciate talking to you.
No, I
It's just
appreciate
we
you,
don't.
brother. Keep doing, keep carving this lane. I'm gonna keep champion what you do because it's well needed, and we gotta talk about not only what you do, but how you harmonize doing that
Yeah,
and being a father, man. So this is us, the dear fathers, giving you your flowers. Torian
thank you.
Robinson, keep being a great father, man. I'm proud of you, my brother.
No, I appreciate you, man.
All love, man. I'll talk
All
to
right,
you soon,
say
brother.
bye bye. Hey,
Peace. Bye
bye.
bye. No Legos. Yes, sir. Um, Torian Robinson, man, that was dope. I tell Jesse all the time, oh, that was my favorite one. Oh, this was the best one. This was one. But I be just growing so much from these lives. And this one was special. Like, he dropped some regular, just fatherhood gems about, like, what to get, how to move, what to buy, what not to buy. It's pretty impressive. If you just now catching it, it will be saved on Dear Father's IG. This is Torian Robinson, the president of People and Culture for Dreamville. Amazing father, amazing just pioneer. I love guys who carve out these lanes that we don't know about because they're most times the most important lanes on the highway, the ones that you don't know about. So I'm Ricky Rock. I'm Ricky Rock Live on IG. Go to dirtfathers.com for the merch. We got a podcast. We got Straight mental health series every last Sunday. We got a book club, Books and Bourbon, every second Wednesday of the month. Anything else, go to differhouse.com. I'm Ricky Rock, and my kids will be busting here any second. So on that note, I gotta go. And thank you, Val, my wife, for watching the kids while I do this. Thank you. I'm gonna say it again so she is more apt to do it every time I have these lives. I'm Ricky Rock. Shout out to the whole team, man. We outside, man. Ski.